What's going on, guys? Diamond Pop here in person. We're about to roll for you guys a little pre-recorded episode because of some travel, but we just wanted to check in real quick. Just got off the golf course. I just shot a 32 on the front nine times two, and we just wanted to say we are so pumped about the Dan Snyder sale. Josh Harris taking over the team. Magic Johnson dancing a go-go. It is the best time to be a Commanders fan in my lifetime right now, and I'm over the moon. Pop.
It's unbelievable. It's like you got to pinch yourself. Even though we've seen it coming for a while, to actually have it be a reality and be under new ownership and be done with the other guy whose name we never want to utter again. It just seems like we've gone from, below the worst ownership situation, not only in the NFL but in sports, to now I feel like it's one of the best. Not
Definitely.
Just Josh Harris, Mitchell Rails, and Magic Johnson. Oh my God. Who could ask for better to have a better spokesperson to that? So things are going up with Dom and Pop. Things are going up with the Commanders, and we can't wait to bring you more. And I think this is a fun episode, talking all things Commanders training camp. I think you'll enjoy it. And we'll be back, next week, regular time, and we'll catch up on all the latest Commanders news.
Yes, sir. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy the episode.
Love yous.
Peace. How you doing, man?
Tell you what, it's amazing how fast these weeks go by. I mean, I feel like we just did one of these.
I know. Feels like it was
incredible.
10
Time
minutes
flies.
ago. It is incredible, guys. We just want to, be a little bit transparent here. We are pre-recording a couple episodes. We got a lot of traveling coming up, a lot of summer vacation schedulings. So we, like all great members of Commanders Media do, we squeezed our vacationing in the month of July, where there's not a ton of crazy headlines and real-time news. So we're going to pre-record this episode.
Except the potential ownership transition.
Of course.
I mean, that's it. Not only the biggest news in franchise history.
Just a little thing.
Possibly. We're not sure.
What are you going to do? But, yes, we just want to be transparent about that up front. But, guys, preemptively, I'm going to bet on the boys here. What a crazy week last week. Thank you so much for everybody that tuned in, checked in, just record-breaking numbers, absolutely smashing it. Guys, if you've been hanging around, I know you've been watching. We can see the analytics. 20 million return viewers from last week. Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. Like, comment, let us know what you're thinking. So, to our 10 million new subscribers between these 2 weeks, guys, we're going to go over our 5 things to watch going into Commanders training camp. If you were watching last week going, man, I'm 10, 15 minutes in. They haven't talked about the Commanders yet. This episode is for you. We are all
Commanders.
This episode. All right. So let's get into it. Our top 5 things to watch going into training camp. We got number 1. Let's just get this out of the way, right? Sam Howell.
Sam Howell.
This season, whether you like it or not, begins and ends with Sam Howell. It just does. That's just how this is going to go.
Yeah, it's going to be really, I think I mentioned this in the last pod because there's all this, I'll re-mention it now because it's at the beginning of the pod. Hopefully everyone's stuck with the last one, but it's just going to be so fun to watch. I'm so excited that he's getting this opportunity, and I'm just so excited to watch what's going to happen. None of us really know, but it's just exciting to watch. He has that potential. Teammates seem to love him. Can't wait for that. I mean, how excited is the first preseason game going to be? To see Sam's first game as the actual starter of the team. I know he played. Awesome. Yeah, so it's going to be a ton of fun.
And I mean, we haven't had this experience since, was it 2019 or 2020 with Dwayne with his second year?
Yep.
I can't remember.
I don't remember. You throwing,
We drafted him in
years.
2019, so I think it's 2020.
We
We
haven't. Why
haven't
don't we
had
just not worry about guessing the year? We haven't had this
experience in a
experience of
while
Dwayne's second year.
of, and even Dwayne,
I don't. Yeah,
you
I
know,
don't think it's
rest in
a.
peace.
Yeah, I don't think
There
that's a
was a
good
there was
analogy.
a lot of different things kind of swirling around whether or not, that was Ron was talking about. We didn't have a preseason that year because of COVID, so Ron said he only got 4 games. That whole thing, it was a mess.
I don't know if I like so much that Dwayne analogy with Ron because he was kind of inherited Dwayne, and there was all
Yeah,
that buzz, and he just never really seemed like he bought in. Whereas Sam is Ron's guy. I mean, he's putting his Polinas on the line here for Sam Howell. So I think it's a little different in that respect, but I think it's going to be. I don't know. I feel a lot more excitement. Maybe it's revisionist history. Rest in peace, Dwayne, for sure. No one was rooting for you harder than I was, but
definitely.
it's just real exciting, I think, to watch what Sam can do.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I think great point there about Ron and putting his Polinas on the line. It's a perfect way to say it. I mean, it's a little bit of a as the boys over at B Mitch and Finley will call, a little bit of the Sam Cassell dance situation here with that, because if you look at it, he could have went out and got Derek Carr, got a Jimmy Garoppolo type to try and save his time in Washington with his new ownership, right? But he said, no, we're going with the young guy. So that's exciting. I think ultimately, as it always does with young cornerbacks, can he take the checkdowns, manage the turnovers? We know he's got that deep ball. We know he's pretty accurate, excitingly accurate. Like putting guys, everybody thinks accuracy is these like crazy tight window throws in between the safety and the cornerback, 25 yards down the field across the numbers. Sure, that's some of it, but a lot of accuracy is also that 5 yard out route, putting it right on Jahan Dotson's hip so he could turn and go upfield in one motion,
What
not even have to think about it. And that's something we
accuracy and
haven't
arm
seen.
strength, right? I mean,
Yep.
those out routes, right? We talked about already, right? I mean, you can simplify the offense if you've got the talent to be able to do that. And that quick out is simple from a schematically, it's simple, but you got to have the arm strength. It's not necessarily the simplest throw, right?
Yeah. And you want to see how important accuracy is to yards after the catch. Go watch the way Tua places the ball in Jalen Waddle's hands and what he's able to do. That, when
Good
people
call.
say, oh, Tua's more accurate than Mahomes, all that stuff, and people say it's crazy, watch that. Watch that ball placement.
But I
If
think I
we can
think the
get something
point
like that,
being,
nuts.
I agree, but I think the point being, think about it. We're really close now, right? We're a few days from training camp starting.
Yep.
Every throw, every practice throw, every preseason throw, is going to be analyzed and talked about. And the level of excitement is going to be. We're going to have plenty to talk about here, right? And I got a question for you though, related to this.
Yep.
Will Sam Howell in the preseason get the standard starting quarterback treatment? In other words, are they going to
Ooh.
sit him and not start him in game 3? Or, is he going to only get 1 or 2 series in game 1, which tends to happen? I mean, is he going to get that standard starting quarterback treatment, or is he going
I
to
think
get
it's
more
too
of the
early to
prove it?
tell, man. It's
Which
too
one do
early
you
to
think,
tell.
though? That's an
I
interesting
think
thought, right?
I think whoever is starting game 3 is not going to be our starting quarterback. That's what I think. I think whoever plays most of game 3 this year, who I think might be Jake Fromm, I think that's
Probably.
probably going to be the guy
Most
that plays
likely.
most of game 3, right? I think otherwise, game 1 and 2, I think they're going to split it right down the middle between Howell and Brissett. I
So
wouldn't be
Sam might get a
surprised.
few more snaps in game 1 than starters would typically get.
I wouldn't be surprised if game 1 Sam gets the first team and game 2 Brissett gets the first team, and they convene afterwards and they say, "What do we see, boys? What do we think?" I wouldn't be surprised if they just go right down the middle like that.
A
I
lot
think
of that might depend on how he looks in practice, right?
that's another thing.
If he's really looking like the clear starter in practice, and he's really killing it, and he's really just learning and amping up every day, they might feel more confidence in not playing him so much. I remember Terry, right? We hit him all preseason, his rookie
Yeah,
year. They were that high on him. He had a little bit of a, small injury. We'll see. It's
yeah.
just going to be fun to watch.
It is. It's going to be interesting. We've got a real. I don't. I
I'm
don't think it's a
pumped.
quarterback controversy in the traditional sense because I think at the end of the day, week one against Arizona at home, Sam Howell's going to be playing some football, I
Right.
think. But like you said, he comes out and he throws back-to-back interceptions in that first preseason game as the starting quarterback. Jacoby might take the reins and not look back.
He's
So
going to
we'll see.
have,
It should be interesting.
we said it last pod. He's going to have a short leash, right?
Yeah,
Because this season's too important to Ron and Eric for
yeah,
that not to be the case. Let's just hope he can take advantage of the situation.
yep. So speaking of Eric, question number two, which this is one of my favorite questions you've asked. I'll outline why. Do we think the Eric Bieniemy vibes remain high in training camp
And what
going
I
into the
meant by
season?
this, and you probably got it, was amongst the players, right?
Yeah,
We've heard that EB coaches hard, right? And he's on their asses. And in that heat of August, right? Is it going to reach a point where that continues that level of excitement? And again, things to watch. I suspect it will. That honeymoon phase will continue through the season, and if they have success, it's going to build on it. And these players seem to be responding really well to them. But not everybody responds to that kind of coaching the
yeah.
same way, day after day. In training camp where it's pretty hard as it is, it'll be interesting to see does that those vibes continue to remain high.
Yeah, I think, in general, that's a great point. That's exactly what I was going to say about Bieniemy is that I think he is really intense coach. Doesn't always work for some people. We heard reports about it not, you know, things in Kansas City being a little bit weird. Of course, now that that's over, everybody's kind of brushed over it and said, "Oh, there's no way Eric needed to get out and go do his own thing." Blah blah blah. But we'll see. How do guys like Sam Howell respond? How do guys like Jahan Dotson respond? How do some of the rookies on the offensive side of the ball? Maybe a guy like Chris Rodriguez Jr., the running back, Eric Bieniemy's running backs coach. How does he respond? How do some of these guys? Maybe a guy like Curtis Samuel is even a guy to watch. A guy that was a Scott Turner pick. That guy is here because of Scott Turner,
It's a good call.
right? How does he respond to now Bieniemy being on his ass? It's a different situation, and I think in May in OTAs in shorts and a t-shirt, it's a little bit easier to tolerate that and whatever than when we're getting into training camp. And I think what it's really going to hinge on are the players seeing results, seeing progress, because that's when they're going to start to buy in. Is when all this yelling and screaming starts to result in wins, starts to result in the team looking good, in things happening in practice, and guys making big plays. If that starts to pile up, they're going to start buying in. I know I definitely had some coaches in my day, I'm sure you did too, that were a little more on the vocal side, a little more intense for sure. And I remember I had one season with a coach like that where we tied. It was soccer. We tied almost like a ton of games, and we weren't that great. And I was like, dude, shut up. I don't even want to hear what you have to say. It's not your craziness is not making us better. And I had another season where we won a lot with that guy, and it was kind of like, hey, we're winning. The players are the vibe of the team they'll put up with that more if they're doing well. So I think that's going to really be what determines it is Sam Howell completing these passes, is the offensive line blocking, are things going well on the offensive side of the ball. If they see that, I think they're going to buy in and those vibes are going to stay high. What do you
But I
think,
also
Bob?
think you got to remember this is a different role for EB, right? I mean, there
Yep.
was there was talk on the radio, how if you watch the games on the sidelines, Eric Bieniemy was rarely interacting, um,
Yep.
you know, um, with the players, right? He was a lot to do with the game plan and the preparation,
Yep.
before the game, right? Specifically Patrick Mahomes. It was more the quarterback's coach and so the head coach there that was re-interact with him. So it's a different role for him and being the primary play caller and being the assistant head coach. Look, we love EB. We think he's going to be great. we're all in. We think it's going to be great, but it is. It is a storyline to watch. Is all that excitement? All does it continue to carry over, or build,
Yeah.
or does it tail down a little bit? There's there are little chinks in the armor that we start to see.
I think if we start to see it tail down, sound all the alarms. That would be my take on it. And I think the best indicator to watch is going to be that Eric Bieniemy hype meter. I think if it stays up, then maybe we should start getting excited about the season. I think if it starts to trail off, oof,
I expect
oof,
vibes to
I
be
would be
high.
worried.
I
I
expect
expect
vibes
vibes
to
to
be
be
high.
high as well, though. I agree with you on that. Number three, comeback players. We got a lot of guys coming back from injuries, whether it be, more serious injuries that they sustained multiple seasons ago or more recent injuries. Just to list them off real quick, Chase Young, Fedarian Mathis, Logan Thomas, Cole Turner are some of the big hitters here. I'm going to go ahead and add Brian Robinson Jr. to that list. I know he did play a lot last season, but with the situation that he dealt with in August of
Okay.
last year, he wasn't able to be in football shape by the time he had to take back over. And you did see him deal with some injuries later on in the season that I think were a result of that. So I want to see you give this guy, now he's comfortable, he's been there, he knows what's going on, and then you give him an entire offseason to prepare for that NFL speed, for that NFL level of play. What can he do? Chase Young, obviously, probably next to Sam Howell, the most hyped player that everybody's looking at right now. Fedarian Mathis, didn't get to see anything from him. I mean, I can't remember if it was an ACL or his Achilles, but serious injury, season ending injury very quickly.
Thought it was a knee.
Pop might be doing a quick Google right now to fact check me on that, but serious ligament injury knocked him out. I think week 1 or week 2. We didn't get to see much from him last year at that nose tackle position, so it should be interesting to see how they work him in. What happens with John Ridgway there?
Meniscus. We were both wrong.
Meniscus.
I was a knee though.
Meniscus. You were closest. If we're doing Price is Right style, I think we
That's
got to give
it.
it to Pop there.
Closest
But
without going over.
yeah, but so with his knee situation, obviously he didn't get to play much. I think it was like week 1 or week 2, and like early on he went out. Logan Thomas, obviously coming back from that ACL injury. A lot of guys it takes 2 years. Just look at Chase Young. We're looking to see if he can really do his thing. And then Cole Turner kind of just has never been healthy since he's been here. He's always kind of been in and out. Is he going to be able to show in game what he's shown in some of those early August practices? We'll have to see.
I think you could make an argument that that combination of Logan Thomas and Cole Turner, and why I put them both there, is because the success of our tight end room has to be that at least one of these guys has either a comeback year in Logan's point of view or a
Yeah,
breakout year in Cole Turner's point of view, right? You struggle with injury. If we don't get one of those two guys to perform at a high level, that's going to be a real setback for this team, because
yeah,
I know how much you love your guy John Bates, but we don't want to have to go through another season where he's our primary tight end. So I think Thomas and Turner, at least one of them has to hit. One of those two have to hit.
yeah. I think it's going to be Thomas. I think it'll be LT. Personally, I just
He's
Cole
gonna. I
Turner
agree. If he's
is.
healthy, he's gonna have a good season. I would agree.
I mean, look, you look at a 5th-round guy that just can't stay healthy. Look at the odds.
He's
That's
got a
all I'm
lot
going
of
to say.
talent. He's got
That's
a
all
lot
I'm
of
going to say.
talent.
Got a lot of talent.
Tight ends don't get drafted high, so I'm not worried so much about where he was drafted. I think he's shown the talent. He's shown the ability. He could be a heck of
Yeah.
a red zone guy. Just got to stay
Oh,
healthy.
certainly. Got
Got
a
to
lot
stay
of
healthy.
talent. You can't coach the height
There you
and the
go, writing
vertical,
off another
all
player
that
because of
stuff.
1 year.
I'm
When are
not.
you going to learn?
I'm saying if I got a bet between Logan Thomas and Cole Turner, we even saw flashes of
What
Logan
about
Thomas
both?
last year.
What about both of them?
That would be great. I'm betting on Logan Thomas. That's my bet.
All right, I
Out of
got you.
these, so Chase Young, give me a little Chase Young here, Pop. What do you think about that?
I think
How are you
it's all.
feeling about
I
Chase
think
Young?
it's all been said. He's on the list, and I think
Yeah,
you know it's just he's another one that's going to be. You said it, Sam Howell comparison. We're going to watch every snap. We're going to watch how he looks. I mean, I don't think there'll be big expectations in the preseason because he probably won't play that much. And if he's and I would expect him. He's just physically an amazing specimen, right? So
Yeah.
he's going to look impressive in practice, right? We're just going to look for how he performs in the game. So I see him as being more when the season actually starts, as long as he can stay healthy. But I think it's all been said about Chase.
Yeah. I'd agree. I think it's going to be interesting with him, man. We'll see how he responds to all the controversy. And I think for Chase, I think it's all going to be right here. It's all going to be right here. Where's his head at? That's going to be what I'm looking out for, because he's got the physical talent. He's got no reason not to be healthy at this point for how long as it's been. Even if he's 85% of what he was athletically, he'd still be an elite defensive end. Where's this?
I think he's
That's what
been
I want to
humbled.
know.
I honestly think he's been humbled, and I think he's
I'm
got
not saying he hasn't.
and
I'm
I
not
think
saying
he's
he
got
hasn't.
mad respect for Ryan Kerrigan. He always did,
Yeah,
and I think having Ryan Kerrigan on that coaching staff is the best thing for Chase. And
definitely.
I think there is the superstar performance which we expect out of Chase, and there is maybe that little less than superstar, very good, which could be the case, but may not be enough to extend them.
Yeah,
It's a story to watch. That's what this list is about. We don't have all the
definitely.
answers yet, but it's a story to watch.
Definitely. So, speaking of not having answers, speaking of the unknown, the ultimate unknown in the NFL, the rookie class.
Number 4 on the list.
What is the buzz around the rookies in training camp? We definitely are going to have to keep an eye out for that. Right now, the biggest rookie hype, Forbes and Martin, for sure. Emmanuel Forbes, Quan Martin, both cornerbacks. Obviously, a lot of people are going, what the hell is Ron doing going cornerback? First 2 rounds. We got to see, do they live up to the hype? What do you
So
think, Hopper?
Martin can
Let's
be a
do it.
hybrid and quarterback slot, play some safety too. I think
Yeah,
that's the logic. But I think this is kind of a buy or sell. Will they live up to the hype? I'm going to buy for sure at this point. But
yeah,
that's what we're going to determine. We'll learn more and more about that through the course of training camp. There'll be lots of eyes. That'll be a big story to see, especially how Forbes performs being that first round pick. But again, a lot of people are high on Martin and almost looking at those guys as 1A and 1B.
yeah, yeah. I'm not looking at them as one A and 1B yet. I think I'm still way too high on Forbes, but I think it is quarterback is one of those positions that we see guys come in and make an impact pretty quickly. It seems to be kind of like a you have it or you don't kind of thing. Like guys either come in, you look at what Trayvon Diggs did, you look at what Sauce Gardner did, and then you see the other side of it. You look at what happened with Derek Stingley. Didn't quite live up to the hype. Got drafted ahead of Sauce. Got drafted high, like top 3, I think. And same with Jeff Okudah, drafted high. Didn't quite live up to the hype. So it seems like those first round quarterbacks, just like any position, but it seems like those guys are really pretty boom or bust pretty fast. So I got all my eyes on Emmanuel Forbes, and just like most Commanders fans, our eyes are probably on Christian Gonzalez too, and just seeing what's going on there. I know we were tortured by the Jamin Davis JOK comparisons for an entire year. So hopefully we earned our karma there, and we're going to be saying, but Ron got it right this time on Emmanuel Forbes. And I think from everything we've seen, it's way too early to say that definitively,
But
but
you
I
can use
think
the Jahan
you could
Dotson
maybe bet on it.
comp, right? They traded down for Jahan. A lot of people thought they should have stayed up and got one of the other
Yep.
receivers. So hopefully it'll be a similar story. And I like using that word. Vibes are high for Forbes so far, in the
I like it.
preseason practices. So, I expect that to continue. I really do. Kid
I
has
like
talent.
it. And it's been a pleasant surprise to hear all the good things about Quan Martin as well. Not that I doubted him, not that I didn't believe, but I'll be honest, a cornerback getting drafted in the second round maybe might not be a guy that you've heard of, not a guy you know a lot about. And when they're saying he's in that fringe, might be a safety, might be a cornerback position, To me, that worries me a little bit. To Ron Rivera, he sees position flex and he loves that. To me, on first rip, that's a little bit worrisome because I get like he's too slow to be a cornerback. He might not be smart enough to be a safety. I'm a little bit worried about that, but does not seem to be the case with him at all. People are very high on him. Sounds like he's going to be pushing to be a starter right off the bat, right on Benjamin St. Juice's tail. So that's awesome. I'm really excited about that. But otherwise, I mean, we did make 5 other picks. So we're not going to go through all of them here. But who is the sleeper out of those 5 picks? Who do we think could really contribute? Maybe not right away, but who do you think maybe we're looking at the end of the season and going, glad we got that guy. What do we think?
This group and is from draft day, and I can't say I've heard a whole lot about this guy through OTAs and minicamp, but the guy I like is the sleeper is KJ Henry, 6th-round edge rusher from Clemson. I was really impressed in terms of
Oh,
seeing his highlight reel. He was kind of second fiddle there to I
yeah.
forget the player that got drafted in the 1st round, but I really like KJ Henry. A really impressive young man when he's interviewed, and I just think he's got a great skill set, and I could see him elevating himself as a top backup among those edge rushers. And hopefully we won't get injuries, but I like KJ Henry from Clemson.
I like it. And I think something important to point out there, he's going to have so much help on that defensive line. He might be able to put up some numbers. He might be able to make some extra plays because you've got Montez Sweat on the other side of the ball. You've got Chase Young on the other side of the ball. You've got Deron Payne and John Allen in the trenches. You've got maybe Ridgeway down there or Fedarian Mathis down there. A lot of talent invested in general in that line. And so he might be able to, you look at a guy like James Smith Williams, he might be able to make that kind of impact right off the bat. And for a guy that you take in round 5, you take that, right? You feel pretty good about
Absolutely.
that.
Wasn't he the one whose dad is a Commanders fan too? Like came down, put his jersey on, and walked
I
down the
think that
steps?
was Chris Rodriguez. I'm not sure, though.
I'm going with
I'm not
KJ
sure. I
Henry.
think that was Chris Rodriguez.
Keep us honest in the
Let us
comments.
know. Let us know in the comments. The Cowboys fans should know, right? They should be aware of
They
that. Let
should.
us know.
They'll call us out.
So there you go. So my pick is going to be Braden Daniels for the sleeper. And
Really?
it's,
That would be
yeah,
great news. What makes
that's
you
going to
say
be my
that?
pick. Because it's wishful thinking, frankly. It's wishful thinking. What makes me say that is that I think we are guaranteed to see Braden Daniels start at least one football game this year because this line is old, this line has injury problems, and Braden Daniels seems to be very versatile, very kind of position flex, and frankly, this line sucks. So it's not going to be a high bar to beat Trey Turner. It's not going to be a high bar to beat Sam Cosmi. It's just not.
It's a bold one though, son,
So
because he's kind of thought of as a more of a project or a guy that's going to be a developmental player. I love it. It
so
would be fantastic if he's that guy.
so is Chris Paul. And
True.
he's looking to get some serious snaps. People are wondering where he's
Yeah,
going to
but
play. I
he
mean,
kind of came on late in the season. And Chris Paul's a good comp
how many
here.
how many centers how many centers did we play last year? How many centers did we play the year before that? This line is cannot stay healthy. It's a lot of old dudes. I just don't trust it. So I think we're gonna see some from Ricky Stromberg. We're gonna see some from Braden Daniels. The reason why I picked Braden Daniels over Ricky Stromberg, I think we have more than we need at the center position right now, and I like the position flex that Braden Daniels brings. So I think we're likely at some point in the year to get down to our third string
I
guard
hope yours
or
comes
tackle
true. If
someone.
I have to root for whose thought on that sleeper comes true, yours would have a much bigger impact than mine. But more importantly, son, don't ever question la testa of your pop. All right? Henry
Good
special
job. Good
bond with his
job.
father, Keith. Keith Henry was a longtime Washington fan.
Good job. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done.
Still there. I don't know for how much longer, but it's still there.
Well done, Pop. Good pull there. So the last thing we got to touch on at this point, barring some act of Satan, the new ownership has taken over. We're good. Everybody's chilling. The deed is done. So how does this new ownership change affect the team? That's the last thing we want to look at. Team reaction changes. Pop, you can go first. I have a pretty quick take on this one, so do your thing.
Yeah, we don't know, right? I mean, I think it's
Yeah,
because they're joining so late. Likely, there's going to be minimal change. But I think all you want to see, and we've already started to see it, is just that stability, that professionalism. You don't want to hear too much about the owners, right? On a team,
yeah,
right? You want the people to run the team. Maybe they make it a little bit of an announcement. You would hope that maybe they try to create some energy and some buzz, maybe do some more things for the fans. Hey, just hearing their owner speak would be a huge change for us. Magic gets in there and does his thing as well. So I think we'll wait and see, but it'll be interesting to see how that changes the dynamic, through training camp. It'll only
yeah.
be positive, I think. Well, definitely.
So I feel like it is relatively irrelevant, and I think ownership will impact the team in the long term. In the short term, I don't think it matters because honestly,
I
these
disagree
guys
with
are
that. I'll let
these
you
guys
finish,
are
but I
the
disagree with
well.
that.
Well, let me finish. Let me finish. Not. I don't think it matters. I want to. I want to turn that. I want to rephrase that a little bit here. In the short term, these guys have already been for the last however many years saying we're just focused on football. We're not thinking about the ownership, blah blah blah. And when he comes in and takes over, when they come in, when Harris and Rails and Magic Johnson and everybody in that group, Joe Gibbs, the whole gambit, when they all come in and take over, it's going to be, hey, we're just excited for the potential here. It's going to be nothing but positive. Everybody knows who signs the checks, right? So I don't think it's going to be a huge initial jump. We're not going to see Terry McLaurin being like, so glad we got the last
But
guy
this is
out of
going to
here.
be more
Amazing.
about.
Blah, blah,
That's my
blah.
point.
But
This is
the
going to.
players are going to be allowed to just focus on football. And it's going
That's
to
my
be fun.
point.
And I
That's
think
where I
that is
think.
going to be a benefit. But I think this is happening so late in the year culturally, the changes and the shifts, I think we will see much larger changes year over year over year the longer this goes. Right
Of
now, I
course,
think
you're
we're going to see
right.
the smallest change.
Of
That's
course,
what
you're
I'm.
right. But I just don't think you can underestimate the addition by subtraction.
I
That
agree.
if they
That's
do
fair.
nothing
That's
but
fair.
just be normal, the
That's fair.
addition by subtraction because of this situation is huge, and that's all they need to do is
Yeah.
bring a sense of normalcy, which is I believe they will, and hopefully by the time you're watching this, that's done. And also the relief. Imagine if you're Ron Rivera and you don't know who your boss is, or you haven't really been able to actively engage with them. I'm not sure how much they've actually done that behind the scenes, but that relief of everybody just have this done. And if they're
Yeah.
smart, and I believe they're smart people, what they're going to do is they're going to support these guys, even though they might not be part of their long-term plans. The only thing you can do at this point is support them. And I think it's going to create a huge relief, and it's just going to be a big boost to this team, addition by subtraction. And whatever, it's going to be a honeymoon period, and whatever little things they can do with the fans, maybe some changes at the stadium, maybe they'll do some things with concession pricing, whatever they can do is
Yeah.
going to be so well received. Now, it won't take long for that tide to turn a little bit, but it's going to be, I think it's going to be just the stability of the situation alone is going to be a
Yeah.
big boost to this team.
I don't think that tide's turning. I'll just be real with you. I don't think at any point anybody is going to be able to stand up and really say, this new ownership group. I mean, unless whatever, some really terrible stuff comes out similar to what Dan was on. But I think with this group of guys and with the way they carry themselves, the way they run their other teams, and with just what this fan base has been through, I don't think anybody in this generation, at least, maybe, if maybe my kids or my kids' kids, maybe they feel a different way. But I think anybody who's old enough to remember Dan Snyder is not going to complain about these guys.
Listen, I'm
That's
going to
what I
say
think.
something, son. Keep it real a little bit here. I agree with you. From my perspective, vibes aren't going to turn, but you know how people are.
Well, I
Let's be
mean,
real. People are going to start nitpicking about, oh, he's not fixing the stadium fast enough, and why hasn't he? We'll be 2-3. Why isn't Ron gone? These guys don't know what they're doing. And haters going to hate. There's
Fair
going to be
enough.
some of that out there.
Fair
That that
I'm with
that
you on that.
honeymoon period can be pretty short, but they're not Dan Snyder, and I think people will remember that for a very, very long time. And I'm going to give them every opportunity. And we gave the other guy 20-something years, so hopefully it won't take that long. But definitely give him
20-something years too many. I tell you
to
that.
completely turn it around for sure. So exciting times.
So we'll see. Super exciting times. Let's just get there. I am so fired up for football season to get started. It is going to be great.
Long.
It is going to be great. It's right around the corner. And, Pop, we had a great week here. We kind of banged out a couple podcasts.
I got to tell you, son.
Busy.
Kulo's a little sore, man. Back-to-back pods. I can't wait to stand up.
There you go. There you go. So, guys, if you've been with us for this double podcast extravaganza, please don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let us know in the comments what you do and don't agree with. We love it. I have a blast chirping with you guys. I'm so excited to point out how wrong everybody is. So please.
Not everybody. There's a lot of great comments in there.
Not everybody, but everybody who roots for Dallas, New York, or Philadelphia is always right.
All right. Pretty much.
So I'm always happy, and half of the Ravens fans. 50% of the Ravens fan base. And our Ravens insider, where he is on that line, it depends. It depends on the week. It depends on the week.
Oh, you shouldn't do him dirty. He's family.
No, I'm messing around. I love it. Come on, I love it. I'm just messing around here. Just having a good time towards the end of the episode. Guys, let's wrap this thing up. Without further ado, I've been Dom.
This is Pop.
And thanks so much for watching.